detachment. So what is detachment and how to practice this detachment? Why detachment is so important? Very often we keep hearing this word detachment, attachment. We keep hearing this, isn't it? So what it is actually, and why this detachment has been classified as an item of knowledge by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Let's try to understand all of these things in today's session. So let's begin. Firstly, let us see what is detachment. So Srila Prabhupada, in one of his morning walk conversations, he says, real detachment means that everything belongs to Krishna, so you have no proprietorship. That is detachment. If you falsely claim it is mine, that is attachment, unnecessary. It is not yours. So the Sanskrit word for detachment is asaktihi. So there are two words we should not get mistake. We should not confuse asakti and asakti. Asakti means attachment or being very much interested in. The opposite of that is asakti. Asakti means detachment. Of everything, that is called asaktihi or detachment. So basically everything belongs to the Supreme Lord, and having this understanding leads us to spiritual knowledge. Therefore, Lord Krishna has classified detachment as one of the items of knowledge. So this detachment, how do we understand it? Let's go further and let's try to understand some more things about detachment. Now, this is a well-known verse from the Ishopanishad. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kinchit jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita magrida kastyasvid dhanam. Now, sometimes we get this idea in mind. Oh, if I have to take up spirituality, then I have to give up all my attachments. I have to give up everything that I have in my possession. Now, the answer to this question is in this particular verse, the mantra of Ishopanishad. The translation of this mantra is everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Supreme Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So, Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is the proprietor of everything that is present, and he has given us, set aside as our quota, certain things which we really require, which is very necessary for us. We can accept that, but we should not encroach upon others' property. Now, when we talk about detachment in spirituality, it is not the object or the possession per se from which we have to give up. But what is that which we have to give up? We need to give up our sense of false proprietorship. That is real detachment. Not simply physically giving up our material things. So physically we may say, from today onwards, I shall not use this particular thing. We may physically give, but mentally that attachment remains in our mind, and then it is not complete detachment. So real detachment actually doesn't mean that we have to physically give it up, but we have to give up the false attachment, proprietorship that we have towards our possessions. That we can give up when we realize the fact that all that I have actually belong to Krishna. So that is the thing which we have to give up. So in spirituality, what does it mean by giving up? We have to give up the false sense of proprietorship. That is real detachment. Let's move further. Let us take some examples, some case studies. Now, here we have the examples of two great emperors of the Vedic age, Yudhishthir Maharaj and Parikshit Maharaj. Both of them were living amidst all opulences. They were leading a royal life, but still they are counted as detached personalities. How is that possible? Now, that is what I was telling in the previous slide. Detachment necessarily doesn't mean that you have to physically give up your items, your possessions. No. Though giving up physically in the beginning can help us to develop detachment, but the real understanding of detachment is I should give up the false sense of proprietorship. So both Yudhishthir Maharaj and Parikshit Maharaj and many other great kings who are mentioned in the Bhagavatam, even though they lived amidst all opulences, still they were fully detached from all their opulences because they used those opulences for the Lord's service. So therefore they didn't get attached. They used everything. They knew everything belonged to the Lord. Therefore they rightfully used everything for the Lord's service. Like for example, Yudhishthir Maharaj performed the Rajasuya Yajna very gorgeously, but he did not perform a Rajasuya Yajna like many other kings used to do to glorify themselves. No, Yudhishthir Maharaj performed Rajasuya Yajna specifically to glorify the Supreme Lord Krishna. That is why he was selected, Krishna was selected to be the first worshipable personality in that Rajasuya Yajna, even though there were many great sages, saintly people present there. Because Yudhishthir Maharaj was very clear that he is doing all these, is performing this yajna for establishing Krishna's supremacy. And in Parikshit Maharaj's case also, he was ruling his kingdom on behalf of Krishna, and he was representing Krishna. He was taking care of his citizens just like his own children. So much so that when he found a sinful person trying to hurt or kill a cow and a bull, immediately he chastised him and he wanted to establish Krishna's principles in his kingdom. So therefore, we should never go by the external appearances. Oh, just because somebody is a king, oh, he must be very materially attached. Not necessarily. And also, the opposite is also true. Just because somebody is wearing a saffron dress or shaved up his head doesn't mean that he's actually fully detached. Hmm? We have to be careful. Nowadays, there are a lot of people, bogus swamis and bogus gurus, who make a show of their detachment, but actually they are not really detached. So the true understanding of detachment is, even if somebody is living amidst all opulence, if he is engaged fully in Krishna's service without claiming any false proprietorship, then he is to be understood to be fully detached. And on the contrary, if somebody is wearing a saffron dress or has become claimed himself to be a sannyasi, but if he is not engaged in Krishna's service, then we can close our eyes and say that this person is actually not detached. So that is the definition of detachment. Let's move further. Let's see some more insights. Now, there is one interesting example that Srila Prabhupada gives uh, to make us understand about the principle of detachment. We all have visited banks, and in a bank, there will be a cashier sitting in a counter, and his job is to keep counting a lot of money. He deals with a lot of money. He pays to people. He also receives a lot of money from the people, from the customers of the bank. Now, even though the cashier is dealing with a lot of cash, he cannot claim a single penny for himself, right? He can only take that money which the bank is going to give him at the end of the month as his salary. He can only use that salary money, but he cannot take a single penny from the bank's money. So he is dealing with a lot of money, but he is very clear that this money doesn't belong to me. It actually belongs to the bank, to the customers of the bank, or to the bank ultimately. So this is how one has to practice detachment in his daily life. So you remember this cashier example. I may be dealing with a lot of money. I may be having a lot of material wealth. I may be having many properties in my name. But if I have the understanding that all of these things belong not to me, but to Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the rightful enjoyer of all of these things. Therefore, I have to engage all of these in Krishna's service. If we have this idea and if we work with this idea, then we are truly detached. So that is the cashier's example that Srila Prabhupada gives. Let's move forward and let's see some more interesting case studies. These are case studies of pitfalls. What are the pitfalls of attachment? Why we should not get attached to material things, right? So why detachment is a symptom of advanced knowledge? So let us see two case studies. Number one is that of a monkey. You must have come across an interesting process that hunters employ to catch monkeys, to catch them, to hunt them. So one of the procedures that hunters follow to allure a monkey is that uh, they go in front of the monkey or the vicinity where the monkeys are there, and they show visibly some nut or some fruit, small fruit in their hand, a banana or a nut or whatever. And then they drop it into a container which has a very narrow opening, a narrow mouth. So all this is done visibly so that the monkey can see it. Now the monkey gets allured. Oh, let me go and eat that fruit or that nut. So what the monkey does, the monkey goes and puts its hand into the container, into that vessel, and then it finds the banana or the nuts, whatever it is, put inside the container. Then it actually catches hold of that. It catches hold of that eatable, and then when it is trying to take its hand out, since the opening of the container is very narrow, it's not able to take out. It's not able to take out. It tries and tries. It's not able to take out because now the fist is much bigger, broader. It cannot come out of that narrow opening. Now it tries and tries. It's not able to get out. And finally, the hunters come and trap the monkey. Now you see, the monkey, if it had little sense, it would have actually left that banana and then easily it could have retrieved its hand. But because it is attached to that eatable, it is not able to give up that eatable so easily, and because of which finally it has to lose its freedom. So attachment actually makes us lose our freedom. You see, if it was detached, if it had given up that, if it had thought, oh, just for eating one fruit, why should I lose my freedom? If it had this sense, then easily it would have actually escaped the hunter's trick. But then the monkeys don't do that. So now we human beings, we have got advanced knowledge, advanced intelligence, much better than a monkey's intelligence. Now we also do the same thing, unfortunately. And in this case, what are we attached to? We are attached to so many things that we have created around ourselves. It could be the wealth, it could be name, fame, it could be whatever, different traps which look very attractive, lust, anger, greed. To the sense objects, we get attached. And because we are attached to these sense objects, we have to follow the dictations of the senses, and therefore we lose freedom. And this is definitely not a symptom of knowledge. Therefore, detachment brings in a lot of freedom, a free space where we can exercise our free will. Therefore, detachment is a symptom of knowledge. So the first pitfall of detachment that is demonstrated through this example, through this case study of catching monkeys, is attachment. Uh, by attachment, we lose our freedom. That is the first pitfall. Let's take another case study. This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, a well-known story about Emperor Bharat, Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj was actually a very exalted personality. He was so exalted that he gave up all his opulences. He gave up his kingly position. He just, and he wanted to go to the forest. He went to the forest, giving up all those royal opulences, and he lived in the forest a simple life. And his goal was to sit in the forest and meditate on the Supreme Lord. For the sake of meditating on the Supreme Lord, very easily he gave up all his material wealth, his family connections, which are very difficult to give up for an ordinary person. So in that case, in that sense, Bharat Maharaj is definitely an exalted personality. But then when he went to the forest, one day he came across a baby deer which took birth just then from its mother's womb. When the mother was pregnant, she was about to deliver the baby deer. She was actually uh, chased by a lion. To escape that lion's attack, the mother deer, jumped across a stream of water in the forest. And that time, the mother deer suffered a miscarriage. She died, giving birth to this baby deer. Now, this Bharat Maharaj, he got attached to this deer. Oh, this deer, no one is there to take care of it. Mother died. So then he brought it and kept it in his hermitage, and he would take care of it, bathe it, give it all foodstuffs to eat, grass, and all of those things. Eventually, Bharat Maharaj came to such a stage that he was not able to focus on his meditation. Even though he would close his eyes and try to meditate, he would always remember the deer. And even a few minutes the deer would be missing from his hermitage, he would go into the forest searching for it. So he became so attached to the deer, he could not remain without the deer. And then what happened? Finally, days passed like this. Bharat Maharaj's attraction for the deer increased day by day. And Bharat Maharaj now became old, and it was time for him to give up his body. That means death came. And when he was about to die, even at that time, he was remembering the deer. And it is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, because of this, Bharat Maharaj, who was about to attain perfection in spiritual life, because of his attachment to the deer while dying, he actually took birth as a deer in the next life. And this was definitely a setback for Bharat Maharaj in his spiritual pursuit. Now, from this case study, we understand when we become attached to something which is not conducive to our goal, we go astray. We go away from our goal. We go away from our goal. Okay, you may say from a humanitarian concern, it was right on the part of Bharat Maharaj to take care of the deer. But mind you, there are many such deers in the forest and who are also motherless. Can a person go and take care of all the deers in the forest? No, right? And also, look at Bharat Maharaja's his determination while he gave up his kingdom. He had a purpose in mind. He wanted to attain spiritual perfection. So now what happened because of his attachment to the deer? his purpose was lost. He forgot the purpose, very purpose for which he gave up his opulent kingdom and came to the forest. That means unwanted attachment makes us forget our purpose in life, and it makes us go astray. That is the learning from this case study. So, therefore, we saw two case studies, right? Monkey's case study, we saw attachment leads to loss of freedom. And here we saw through Bharat Maharaja's case study, attachment leads to forgetfulness of our goal in life, right? These two are definitely not so good, isn't it? Therefore, attachment, undue attachment, is must be given up. So here, applying the principle here in Bharat Maharaja's case, what he could have done, he could have actually uh, prayed to Krishna. Krishna, you are the supreme father of everybody. Now this baby deer is in such a situation. Please take care of it. So recognizing that Krishna is the real proprietor, real caretaker, and every one of us are under his protection, is also a symptom of real detachment, right? So, Krishna, you take care of this deer. Putting somebody under Krishna's shelter is actually the best thing to do. And of course, whatever possible from our side, you do, but not to the extent that you go astray from the goal. So that is the learning. So detachment definitely helps us not to go away from our goal, to remain focused in spiritual life, and also it keeps us on the right track. Right? So that's why detachment has been listed as one of the items of knowledge by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Now let's move forward. Now, how do we attain this detachment? Is there a way to attain detachment? Yes, definitely there is. Now, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, second chapter, seventh shloka, it is mentioned. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad Ahaitukam, which means by rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. So, jnana and vairagya, knowledge and detachment, are byproducts of devotional service to Krishna. So, when we engage ourselves in devotional service to the Lord, automatically we develop spiritual knowledge as well as detachment. We don't have to separately endeavor to develop these two things. If we simply engage properly in devotional service, according to the guidance of Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master, it is a known fact, or it is a 100% truth, that we are going to eventually develop spiritual knowledge, realization, and detachment from all that is unnecessary for us. Right? So this is an important thing. So bhakti brings in attachment to Krishna, because of which one becomes detached from other not required or unnecessary things. Unless we become attached to Krishna by doing devotional service, it is not possible for us to become detached from material things. So with that we should keep in mind. So attachment to Krishna and detachment from material things, they are one and the same. That means without becoming attached to Krishna and his devotional service, detachment from material things cannot happen. So that is the understanding. So by rendering devotional service, one becomes automatically detached from unnecessary things. When I say detachment here, again, I'll want to stress again, it's not physical giving up. It is detachment from giving up of the false proprietorship. A devotee, when he engages in devotional service properly under the guidance of a spiritual master, he becomes free from this false proprietorship, and that is how he attains real detachment. let's move further. So this is an interesting example for that. How, when one engages in devotional service according to the guidance of a spiritual master, one attains this detachment. This example is from Bhagavatam, again, about Dhruva Maharaj. So, Dhruva Maharaj, we all know, as a 5-year-old boy, he was determined to get a kingdom more opulent than his great grandfather, Lord Brahma. For this, he wanted to please the Supreme Lord by performing severe tapasya in the forest. And he got the guidance of the pure devotee, Narad Muni, whom he accepted as his spiritual master. Under the guidance of Narad Muni, he performed severe tapasya for 6 months. And he was able to see the Lord face to face. And the Lord appeared in front of him and granted his wishes. The Lord gave him a separate planet, Dhruvaloka, which is as good as the spiritual world. And this Dhruvaloka is like worshipable by everybody within this world. Even great sages look upon Dhruvaloka. So Dhruva Maharaj attained this position. But then Dhruva Maharaj had a realization. So he thought like this: Sthanabhilashi tapasistitoham tvam praptavan deva munindra guhyam kacham vichinvan api divya ratnam swamin kritarthosmi varam na yache. The meaning is, Dhruva Maharaj prayed, "Oh my Lord, because I was seeking an opulent material position, I was performing severe types of penances and austerities. Now I have gotten you, who are very difficult for even the great demigods, saintly persons, and kings to attain. I was searching after a piece of glass, but I have found a most valuable jewel. Therefore, I am so satisfied that I do not wish to ask any benediction from you. Varam na yache. I don't want any material benediction from you." So now this is a natural phenomena or a natural effect of performing devotional service under proper guidance of a spiritual master. So even if somebody in the beginning has a lot of material attachments, but if he takes the guidance of devotees and engages himself in chanting Hare Krishna mantra and performing devotional services, the result will be that the unwanted attachments or the false proprietorships, these tendencies will be gone, and these contaminations will be washed away, just like it happened with Dhruva Maharaj. So he's saying, actually, I was looking for broken pieces of glass, but look what I have found. I have found the most valuable jewel, that is Krishna, his devotional service. And I am very satisfied with that. I don't want anything else. After finding a jewel, which foolish person will actually start searching for broken pieces of glass, isn't it? So here, the material opulences are compared to broken pieces of glass, whereas the Supreme Lord and his devotional service are compared to the most valuable jewel. So when we engage in devotional service under proper guidance, then this will be the result that automatically we develop detachment or the false sense of proprietorship. So this is definitely a symptom of a learned person, an advanced person, a knowledgeable person. Therefore, Lord Krishna includes detachment as an item of knowledge in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So with this, we come to the end of today's discussion. So anybody has any queries, any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question. If you have any questions, any queries, you can, at this point of time, you can ask your questions. Okay, since none of you have responded, I'm assuming that you don't have any questions. In case if you have any questions regarding this topic or any other topic in Krishna consciousness, please feel free to approach me either in person, or you can send a WhatsApp message to me, and I'll be very happy to share the knowledge from Srila Prabhupada's teachings with all of you. Now let's move forward. Let's now chant the holy names of the Lord, the easiest process of performing devotional service in the present age. Just by chanting the holy names, we develop attachment to the Lord, and the material contamination sitting in our heart from time immemorial will be cleansed away. So chanting is such an important process for attaining attachment to the Lord and simultaneously detachment from unnecessary material things. So first we chant the Panchatattva mantra, praying to the Panchatattva, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. By their blessings, we will be able to chant offenselessly. So first we will chant Panchatattva mantra 1 time. Following that, we will chant the Hare Krishna mantra 5 times. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So I request all of you to please chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day without missing. And it is the surest, easiest, simple yet sublime method of reviving our original relationship with Krishna. So thank you all for being part of today's session. I request you to please give your feedback in this link, how you felt attending this session, what were your learnings, and if you have any suggestions, please do write to us in this feedback link, bit.ly/td feedback. So we still have about 4 minutes left. If anyone has a question or a comment, please feel free to unmute yourself and speak. If you have questions, if you want to share your learnings from today's session, please go ahead, unmute yourself and speak out. Even if you don't have questions, you can share your learnings. It can be a revision for all of us. What is that one single point that you learned from today's session? You can just share with all of us. Amrit, would you like to share?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. What is that one single thing you learned from today's discussion, Amrit?
I think the most important, the higher taste of life is actually dedicating ourselves to Krishna and the teachings of Krishna. So any other thing in life have lesser tastes, not equivalent to that. So like Dhruva Maharaj, he was after getting taken higher than his grandfather, but ended up getting satisfied by seeing Krishna.
Yes. Very nice. Thank
It's
you.
about higher taste. Yeah.
Yes. When we get a higher taste, automatically the lower taste will go away. Yes. Good. Thank you, Amrit. Umesh, you have raised your hand. You want to share something?
Yes, bro.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, bro. I want to tell that by developing taste for devotional studies, we can easily get detached from the material desires and attachments easily. But in case of Dhruva Maharaj, he got with spiritual master's mercy, and he can easily able to follow the process, and he was able to detach from this material world, and he got the highest supreme personalities uh, darshan.
Yes, very nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Umesh. So
Thank
that's
you.
what I said. When we perform devotional service according to the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, then surely we will be able to attain spiritual perfection. Example for that is Dhruva Maharaj. Okay, so with that, we come to the end of today's session. I hope all of you enjoyed the session. Thank you very much for being part of the session, giving your valuable time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.